From the News Channel 5 Network, this is MorningLine with Nick Barris.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on Morning Line. Nick Barris with you here on a Thursday. We have a good show on tap for you. We're going to do double dip today, if you don't mind. We've got a couple of topics we're going to talk about. The first one is going to be something we've touched bases on of late, and you know it if you live in this Middle Tennessee area. The cost of property, homes, building, selling, buying, it's just a very, very active and I think surprising, stunning market for a lot of people. As we've heard, we've done stories here in the newsroom with regard to people selling their home, and they're getting offers way above their list price because the competition for a home is so great. It's crazy. You kind of think, hey, I want to sell my home and make this money, and that's great if you want to split Middle Tennessee. And yeah, some people want to leave, that's fine. But if you want to stay here, yeah, you sell, you still have to find a new place to live, don't you? So we're going to take a look at the marketplace right now and also look a little bit more into the real estate business, because it's funny, as this thing goes on and it's such a hot market, I hear more people telling me, well, Nick, I'm thinking maybe I'll just change my career and try real estate out, you know? And to me, it's like those who are good at real estate are really good for a reason, and it's not easy. And it's something I've never considered. It's something that's not of an interest to me, but I have other people, and I kind of say, well, give it a shot, good luck. And we're going to talk about that with our guest. And then after the first half of the program, we're going to be joined by Dr. Calvin Smith over at Meharry to get into some of the very latest that's happening in the news right now with the COVID-19 vaccine and vaccines in general. So stick around for that. And as always, we'll get the phone number up there, and you're welcome to join in the conversation if you'd like. And starting this off this morning, like I said, we're talking real estate. With us from Compass Realty is Gabriela Lira. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
It's a pleasure having you on.
Wonderful.
I really enjoyed talking to her just before the show started, because I'm fascinated by this business, especially at this time. Okay, you've been in real estate for a little more than a decade, you were telling me.
That's right.
Have you seen in your 10 years, has it all been here in Middle Tennessee?
It has.
Have you seen a market like this in the 10 years you've been here?
I have never seen a market like this.
Okay, and would you imagine this has happened in other places where it spikes this fast? It's just cities, for whatever reason, or regions just become super hot?
I am part of a national firm, so I do hear from my colleagues that there are other cities that are this hot as well.
All right, I've heard places like Austin or maybe
That's
Denver.
right.
Vegas used to be. I don't know if it still is. We'll talk about some of the marketplace and what we see driving a lot of the market now, but I just wanted to ask you about this career in real estate, which obviously you're successful. You're with one of the big companies.
I am.
But you say you're your own CEO.
That's right. So I run my business like the CEO of our business. We're all 1099 employees, or non-employees, if you will, when you're 1099.
You're your own boss, which is cool.
I am my own boss. I am the business development person. I am the chief marketing officer. I am all of these things. And of course, I have a team at this point in my career.
So you have staffers that work with you?
Yeah. We were actually recently ranked by the Wall Street Journal #7 in Tennessee.
Wow.
And
is that based on number of sales?
Volume.
Volume, which is
Not
what it's all
number of
about.
sales. Yes,
okay, volume meaning, wait, when you say volume, what's the difference between volume and number of sales?
Number of sales is the number of homes that you sell. Volume is the cumulative price points.
Oh, okay, it's price points. Okay,
Yes.
it makes sense. So meaning how much. Do you sell homes, everything from some of the smaller, more affordable ones, not that they exist here in Middle Tennessee, or is it all the really big Bellmead mansions?
We sell a little bit of everything. We do focus on the luxury market. However, I have buyer's agents on my team that focus on the lower price points.
Okay, and so when someone says, wow, it's a hot market, and Gabriela, it seems like she's very successful, has a great career going, and maybe I'd like to try real estate. I just bring that up because you hear that some these days, and I kind of just, you know, in a way, I think that's kind of a slap in your face, like, oh, well, anyone can just go do it. And you said there are not very many barriers to getting your real estate license.
That's right.
What's the difference?
Barriers to entry to become a real estate agent are low. You know, to become a doctor, you need to have gone to med school. To become a real estate agent, you don't need a lot of those qualifications, but to stay in real estate and be successful in real estate, that takes more grit.
Yeah, I would say it's competitive.
For sure.
And are you pretty much on call? Like, let's say you have a weekend with your family or something like this, but one of your main clients calls and says, there's this home I just saw driving by that I'd really love to see, and I'm only in town this weekend. You're like, I gotta run.
Gotta run.
So what's that like, adapting to 24/7 on call? I mean, you have some control, but some things come out of the blue. How much control do you have, really? I mean, like today, for instance, you're with me, but after this, do you have a bunch of appointments scheduled?
I do. So you need to create some boundaries, right? You need to create some of your own balance, and every real estate agent has to decide what those are. But yes, there are some clients of mine, if they were to tell me, I just saw this house, it came on the market, I must see it now, I'd probably drop everything I'm doing and go show them this house, particularly in this market that's so competitive.
Right, okay. And it's competitive. When you say that, do you go head to head with other real estate agents for clients?
Of course.
That's how it works, right?
That's how it works,
I love it.
all the time.
It is, okay. So, and you know, you can compete for these folks, and do you get most of your clients from referrals? Do you pursue some of them? Maybe sometimes they call out of the blue?
Yeah, I'd say 85–90% of my business is referral based. I do a great job for my clients, so they keep calling me back, sending me their friends and family.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. So it's much, not that it's easier, but that you've got 10 years under your belt.
Yes.
And so you've built this up. And so in a way, as opposed to starting fresh without having a big client list, now you have more that you can depend on. It makes it a little easier?
Sure, it makes it easier, but you still need to keep in touch with those people. So the stats tell us that every person knows about 10 realtors, and they will call the person that is top of mind when they have a need. So you constantly have to stay top of mind.
Okay, and you said too, a lot of people think, oh, this must be a great market for real estate agents, and it is in some ways. But you say you're working harder than ever before right now.
Oh yes, I'm working harder than ever before, because if you're representing a buyer, the market's so competitive that you might submit 3, 4, 7 offers before one actually gets accepted. So that's a lot more work. And if you're representing a seller, I'm now having to put processes into place to help them evaluate 20, 30, 40 offers.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to ask you this, and we can take some calls, 737-7587. All right. We've done several stories where people have listed their homes, and with what they thought was, hey, if we get this, this is great, and then they get above list price offers. So I'm wondering, as I see this, and some of them are absurd above list price.
Yes.
So for you, I mean, when you're sitting down with your client and you're deciding, okay, this is what we should list it at. We've done the comps in the neighborhood. We kind of know what it is, and we list it. And then they get an offer 50 to 100,000 above that. Does that mean that the two of you didn't do a good enough job estimating what it's actually worth? Or did it catch people by surprise? Or, I mean, how do you explain that?
We're always surprised. I will tell you that we use comparative data to price.
It's based on something. It's
Yes,
legit. So I'm not saying you made a mistake,
Right.
but it's like if you gauge the marketplace, say, well, the comps tell us we can sell this for $500,000. But I see what's in the marketplace right now. Is it still wise to just go with what you think is reasonable and take what comes? Or should you say, you know what? It's more than I would have said last year, but let's list it for 600.
So there is a fine line here.
Okay.
You definitely want to be aggressive and can be aggressive in this market, but you don't want to price so high that you're scaring off buyers to begin with and no one comes to see your home because they immediately believe it is way overpriced.
What are you seeing, the buyers? Is part of what's driving this market folks coming from outside the region? Is it supply and demand?
Oh, it is all about supply and demand, like too many buyers and not enough homes to sell them. So yes, Middle Tennessee has always been a hub for work-related moves, but COVID changed the atmosphere a little bit. So when COVID hit, employers decided, my employees can work from home and still be productive. So people now had the option to live anywhere they wanted, and many of them chose Tennessee. Actually,
these are people coming from outside the state.
So actually, Tennessee became the #1 COVID move destination, believe it or not. So people are coming here for a lifestyle, the no state income tax, the temperate weather. I mean, today it doesn't feel so temperate, but in general, temperate weather. Very business-friendly climate, comparatively lower price, lower cost of living. So, you know, lots of entertainment. So people are really attracted to the Tennessee area. And then locally during COVID, we were all pretty cramped at home, right? We all decided, we think we need more square footage and we think we need a backyard. So locals are also driving that demand.
I was thinking, yeah, you were talking about people coming from out of state, but locals as well now, maybe thinking, well, we're going to stay home more so we can upgrade to a larger home. But is some of the price point, I mean, I'm just thinking if someone in California, we hear a lot about folks moving here from California. Do you have some California clients?
I do.
Okay, and if they're coming from someplace, say Malibu, okay, I used to live in Newport Beach, but you know, the homes there are very, very expensive. If you sell one there, you can come here, and if you just find a house you like, offer $100,000 more than list price, and you're still going to have cash left over from your Malibu home, right? Is that what it is? So is it mostly, is it high dollar people moving out here from, you know, places like Malibu in California?
Sure, and if you can pay cash for a home, then that gives you an advantage.
How's
right?
that an advantage? If you say, meaning that I can literally write a check for you right now?
Yeah, so you don't have a finance contingency on your contract, number one.
Right. Okay.
And that also means that for the buyer, it's less risky. They're guaranteed a certain price. Also, when you are paying cash for a home, you generally don't have an appraisal contingency either. So there's less of a risk there for the seller.
Makes sense. Everything can move a lot faster on that.
Everything can move a lot faster.
Do you have fun to compete as a local real estate agent? I think we all, maybe at home once in a while, get these letters in the mail, just unsolicited, saying, hey, I'm such and such and such, and I would like to buy your house or your property. Just, I have no idea what they are. They go right in the garbage can for me. But I mean, I think a lot of them are investment bankers, folks buying up, you know, homes that will be something as part of an investment.
Buyers.
Right. Is that what it's called? And you know, buying up huge swaths of properties if they can find whole subdivisions, which, yeah. That could be a little unsettling because then you never know if they're buying it all up. Are they going to buy it all up to turn around and sell those homes again, or maybe rent them, which for a lot of neighbors in the subdivision right next door in the same area, nothing wrong with renters. But, you know, in a neighborhood, renters just by definition don't care as much as about taking care of the property as someone who owns the dang house.
Well, it's a more transient demographic.
Not bad, but it's just, it should be in a set area or whatever, as opposed to, I wouldn't want to be the only homeowner in an entire rental neighborhood. Yeah. I just wouldn't.
And it is a reality of our market. There are institutional buyers that buy these homes and for the most part turn around and rent them.
Do people know that when they sell it, or is it just, you know?
People know it.
They do know it?
Yes.
And I guess if the price is right, I guess they're leaving anyway, so they don't mind.
Sure.
Do you see any regulation coming in along those lines down? I mean, how regulated is the real estate market, if it is at all?
It is regulated.
Okay, how so? Like, give me an example of what maybe some regulations are you have to abide by when you're selling.
Sure, there are duties that I owe to all customers, whether they're my clients or not. You know,
like what? Just being responsive, I know, but you're being just a good, you know.
Of course, being, I mean, responsible with my trade, you know, making sure that what's needed to be disclosed is disclosed. Just so many different things that we need to abide by as real estate agents. And then when someone becomes my client, I owe them additional duties of loyalty and things of that nature.
Okay, well, I figure it's regulated, but I wonder if some way to stop, you know, these whole neighborhoods being bought up. Like, I don't know if that'll come. State lawmakers can talk about that. Listen, we're going to take a break. You're really good. I'm learning a lot of stuff. I like that. It's kind of neat. I'm fascinated by the biz, especially the way it's going right now. So we'll come back and we'll talk more about, you know, maybe someone out there thinking about buying right now, what the best way is to go about doing this, especially if they're going to sell theirs and then go about buying another one locally, which is a trick. We'll take a break and be back more with our guest right after this.